Thank you very much, Janna and Zoe, for this presentations. I think they are clear enough. Nevertheless, we've received quite a few questions. So I will now share my list of questions compiled. And you can have your go at answering them. So these are 3 questions we received earlier today, so beyond deadline, but they might be interesting. Can you see them?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the floor is yours again.
Okay, thank you, Alexander. Yes, so we received, I said 1 question we already answered, and we received 3 more this morning. So the first question, I think, Zoe already said, actually, so last year only 1 project proposal for E5 was funded, and that's also because there's high competition with proposals for other calls. Because you're all on the same ranking list. We got several E5 proposals which were recommended for funding, but with points which are not very much above 10, so that they didn't get on the very top of the ranking list. So now you might ask, why is this the case? I can already tell you the reason why we have now the seminar is to change that, and we're really hoping that this year we will be able to finance more E5 projects. And I think we already mentioned some of the weak points of last year's proposal. I admit it's not easy. It's a challenging challenge, a challenging call, clearly. And as we said there, it's all the points we already mentioned, especially on the clear construction of the impact and on consistency, coherence. These are, I think, the major points which, we hope to get a very high quality this year. Okay, just as additional point for information, if ever your proposal is recommended for funding but does not get funding immediately because of the high competition, it does regularly happen that actually projects which are high on the reserve list can get afterwards additional funding, and then do get funding and do start just with some months or even more time delay. So the second question, do's and don'ts for dissemination and communication activities to increase the impact. Yeah, I think Zoe mentioned already, it's really crucial to spend some thinking on this part of your proposal, and don't do the standard dissemination communication you cut and paste you find everywhere. But really, what are the specific points of your proposal? How could you communicate them? Which are the best channels? Also try to be creative and innovative. I mean, there are all kinds of ways beyond the standard documents and websites to be created, and newsletters. And actually also important is to use all your professional networks for this as well. Okay, for the third question, all right. So about pilot actions, if you need to include pilot actions. So nowhere in the call or in any of the documents it says you need to include pilot actions. So clearly it's possible to submit a project without. The only question which comes to my mind here is looking at the 25 gigawatt hours you want to trigger by the end of the action. In case you have not already achieved them fully during the action, but you want to trigger them, how exactly are you going to prove to us that not only to us, and how are you going to prove that you will trigger them? One option is, of course, that you have of course calculated what you would trigger as savings, and then during the course of the action you do some pilots, some testing, some demonstration to show that indeed your approach, your technology, your renovation approach will lead to the expected savings. And and that by the end of the action you have fully committed. You have, for instance, started the works. They might not yet have been all finished, but you have maybe finished some pilots, so that you can have a sound measuring basically. Okay, I think these were those 3 questions. Do we have any further questions?
Yes, we actually have several. And I'll be copying a couple more by the end. So you can start from the start. They are in the order of submission.
So we have a question on water and energy and other innovations. So we have to say water is not a specific focus of this call. As we already said, this call is already quite challenging in itself. However, it's of course always positive if you take if you have other positive side effects, which can add something specific to the action. As I said, this is not a main focus though. So as we said before, we are here to explain the EE5 call, but what we cannot do is commenting on your individual project ideas. That would be unfair to those proposers who are not present here. And so we cannot comment on your concrete proposal. We can say all building types are eligible, especially when they're existing buildings. And also, I mean, the ownership is not something we are saying which way it has to be. So I think that's all we can say about this question.
Real case studies are welcome, yes?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The real case studies, yes, they're welcome, of course.
We should take into account that this is a coordination and support action. You have seen the slide before, which kind of activities fall under the definition of the CSA. You will have seen that construction, for instance, or concrete refurbishment is not one of the concrete actions, which does not mean that it's excluded either if you can clearly summarize it under one of the actions which are mentioned as typical actions for a CSA. But just to say, this is a difference from other calls which have a more technical focus, where you clearly get funding for concrete
demonstration
activities. But of course, they're always welcome.
So I see the Ukraine eligible. We have a proposal from last year's call, including the Ukraine, that went for funding. Okay.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I mean, we have a document on this on the participant portal, which shows which are the associated countries. And Ukraine, indeed, you might know, is in a very particular situation right now. So actually, the status of Ukraine changes also regularly how exactly funding is applied. So please check out the latest version of our document for associated countries on the website. It has one part on Ukraine as well, basically saying it's for the moment has signed the relevant document, but it has not yet entered into force. However, all this should not deter you from handing in proposals containing Ukraine. It will not, you will probably not get negative points for it, but concrete details, how it works.
So as I said, there is this annex on the list with the eligible countries. Should it be updated, you will always find it on the Horizon 2020 website. And for some of the countries mentioned on that list, some are eligible for funding if there is a clear justification, if there's a clear reason to have a specific partner from that country. But please check the list to have the exact details about that.
Well, the question if all the templates are the same. Well, we are talking about this concrete call again. We cannot comment on others. And I think you have the correct template actually in your participant portal. It's called Proposal Template Technical Annex for Call H2020 EE05 3 Market Uptake, Coordination and Support Actions. I don't see anything specific. Well, for me it looks like it's the same for all calls, but as I said, we are only commenting on this call right now.
For those of you who maybe intend to resubmit a proposal, also make sure that you're using the adequate template. So make sure you don't simply copy-paste things from last year, but make sure that you're using the last available template.
So the next question is if we can describe the makeup of a team necessary to make a valid submission. Well, we are looking for consortia. Consortia, I don't know if that's what you mean by a team, but it's basically the actors who come together to propose this action. They have to be a minimum of 3, which have to come from EU or associated countries, from different separate legal entities for the CSA, but they can also be composed of many more. There is no maximum, so the minimum is 3. And apart from those 3 from EU or associated countries, you can of course have also participants from other countries. Yeah, I think that's it. And apart from that, you are free in the choice of your consortium, from which sectors and from
the type of actors. You really have to tailor it to your proposal. So make sure you have the right actors on board to implement the action you have in mind.
But yeah, keep in mind it has to be ambitious. We are looking for some European scale, which does not mean you have to include EU 27 or 28 or member states, but EU scale, so not just one small corner normally. So it has to have relevance for the EU market. So that's actually, yeah, I mean, you need a strong consortium which can really make a difference on an important part of the EU market, I would say. Next question, if we have examples of successful call submission documents, we do not share, we have one question before. Okay, first this one. So we do not share the submission documents of proposals. This is, of course, confidential. But I think, yeah, you have a list of the proposals, yes, and you have an abstract.
Yes, these are available now.
Yeah, and for the past, you have even more information. For Intelligent Energy Europe, you have even more information. And actually, this one project which was selected last year, which has just had its kickoff meeting, Refurb. It's the project which was financed under EE05. It should soon also have its website online. You can already see in our tweets, we already tweeted about its kickoff meeting, so nobody stops you also from getting in contact with them, for instance. Okay, next question, question before.
Okay, maybe in the meantime I can address some of the other questions. Will there be a third call on the same topic after June 2015 is what I see. So there's nothing available, I mean, that's clear yet at this stage for next year. If that's what your question is hinting at, whether there will be a similar call open next year, we don't have an answer at this stage right now. There is nothing that is public and official and final right now about this.
I can take the previous,
one of that's more above.
I can take the longer question. So it's actually a very specific question. I would refer you again to the proposal template technical annex for call 2020 energy efficiency 2015 3 market uptake, coordination support actions, which you find in your participant portal once you have logged in. And actually it gives a lot of hints for instance, how you should convert final energy consumption into primary energy consumption. It also talks about savings in kilowatt hours electricity with a default coefficient of 2.5. So I would actually suggest you look at this. It's on page 5 under the impact. Yeah. Anyways, any other reliable source, credible official source can also be used for.
So I think Janna addressed the question on the successful proposals document. So I will go to the next one. So the stats on the number of proposals received. So I'm talking about the June deadline of last year, 2014. We received 393 proposals, out of which 45 received funding, and some more are now being looked at from the reserve list. So there may be a few more that end up being funded. And we had 28 that we received specifically last year under EE5.
Okay, and just one addition to the question we had before, because the last part I see we haven't addressed yet was we would like to take into account local means of electricity production. And if you look at the template I just mentioned, you will read the sentence, you may apply a different coefficient at national, regional level, provided that it can be justified. Okay.
So what I meant, what you'll see in the work program on the 29 million, on the 59 million, so they are under this call, so it's not, we're not talking about 13 calls, under this call, so energy efficiency under Horizon 2020 with the 4th of June deadline, there are various topics that are open, and what I wanted to say is that EE5 is sharing a budget line with 12 other topics. So EE5 is a topic, and there are 12 other topics, and these 13 topics together share a budget line of 59 million euros of funding.
Maybe we can say you find it, I think, on page 37, 8 of the work program on the participant portal. The full list of topics with which E5 is sharing. I remember it's 4, 5, and a whole list 7 to 10, I think.
Yeah, then 14 to 17, 19 to 21. So you can have a look at the descriptions of the other topics as well, if that's of interest to you. As regards management, there's not an upper limit, I would say, as such, but clearly this will be judged by the evaluators, and if it's extremely high without no clear reason, clearly you would be penalized on that specific aspect. But as such, there's no guideline of a maximum percentage.
So the key documents of the call you will find on the participant portal under funding opportunities. Please refer to the slide Zoe has shown before. I think it's, well, we don't have a slide number here, but it's a slide which shows actually a screenshot of the participant portal showing you where you can log in, register, and if you just follow the links there, you will come to the call text itself, so the work program, and you will have different sections on related documents. So please follow those. And as I said, actually some details are only available once you have created your file on the participant portal and you're logging in and you're starting to really fill in your concrete file, and there you will find more details than just on the front page. So you will also find information on the financial capacity check. As we mentioned before, the financial capacity of the coordinator is subject to verification. And you will find more details in the Horizon 2020 Vademecum. I think there's even a special edition, let's say, a special part on this financial capacity check, which, by the way, does not apply to all organizations. So please check it, and you can also do a pre-check yourself online, which we really recommend to do as well, in order not to get problems later.
So then there's a question on the previous proposal. So I understand the one of the 2014 call that's funded and that's focusing on residential buildings. So the question is it possible to focus again on residential buildings? Yes, I mean, the topic description is exactly the same. So clearly, if you're in line with the scope, a proposal would be eligible. Of course, don't repeat exactly what's been funded before. About the eligibility of the countries, please again, we'll refer to the annex of the countries that are eligible for this specific call.
Slide. Can you see these slides? So I would refer you again to the definition of what a coordination and support action is, and what you can find there as potential activities. So, for instance, we have design studies for new infrastructure, but we are not 100% clear what exactly you mean.
Neither. I'm not sure. Then the step-by-step information.
Basically, you are free to propose methods and tools which you think may trigger deep renovation. And of course, preparing projects, preparing studies and documents which you can then show to the owners of dwellings. In general, all kind of such documents, I think, should be included. But it's not 100% clear what it's meant.
No, not clear.
Well, on the next question, how would impact be measured in case of renovation by stages? So actually, if you look at the currently financed project refurb, you will see they do suggest also renovation in stages, which doesn't mean at all that you have to do it or should not. You should or should not do it. You should come with your own proposal. But so it's definitely possible, and well, you also have to see how to measure that impact. Indeed, I mean, as I said, the final ambition of the 25 gigawatt hours should be clearly triggered by the end of your action. And of course, we are aware that some then concrete works or the full savings might not really already occur during the action, but later. But we have to be sure already during the action, actually already in the proposal stage, that you have a very robust mechanisms of ensuring that this will happen.
So therefore, please make sure your assumption and baselines are really clearly explained and that they really that they are realistic. This is really what's going to be crucial.
Last
question. If I don't.
Yes, so as we already mentioned before, please have a look at the template which you find in your participant portal when you work on the details of your proposal, where you have under impact detailed tables, and on page 5 of the impact under the table you have a whole number of information on conversion factors and potential sources of data for how to calculate.
So the last question is on the successful project from 2013. I see you want to have more details. If you want, we'll post this presentation, of course, online tomorrow. We will include the link to the table of the projects that have been funded through last year's call, so you can find the abstract of the refurb project there.
Exactly. It's called refurb, so REFURB. And it had its kickoff meeting recently, and so you will also find some tweets on the EASME website on this kickoff meeting. You will see some people cycling to see a refurbished building on the photos related, and they should also have soon the website online where you can certainly find more information. But as you said, don't repeat what others have done in the past. It's your chance to realize your own idea, and that's what we're looking for.
Sorry, could it be possible to have the written answers? We don't plan to put anything in writing about the answers we've been giving now. There are frequently asked questions. These are put online, but you can listen again to this webinar in case you would like to do so.
Yes, I should add here that by the end of this week, the webinar will be online, and it will also be cut into pieces so that it's easy to get to the questions directly or to a specific presentation. So it should be easier to find. That was actually the last question, I think. Yeah, that was actually the last question submitted until now. So I believe that. Well, congratulations. You've answered a very large number of questions, the most that we've had on any webinar in build-up. And of course, it's not very strange since it's the webinar with the highest number of participants until now. Janna and Zoe, thank you very much for these presentations and for your patience in answering a very large number of questions. I hope that everything has been clear to everybody and also where the resources are available. As I said, by the end of this week, the full webinar will be online in addition to the presentations. Janna, Zoe, anything that you would like to add before the end of the webinar?
I just would like to say good luck to all those of you who are intending to submit a proposal and really take all these tips into consideration, because, I mean, as you've heard, we really can only fund the very, very best proposals. So good luck to you all.
Yeah, I agree with what Zoya said. Maybe just a final tip, but completely subjective from my point of view. In order to really win this very challenging competition with all the other proposals, I think it's of really utmost importance if you have a really well prepared, high quality, high ambition, very good proposal. Much more important than being involved in 10 different proposals. It makes also for us life easier to really dedicate all our attention to your proposals. So yeah, good luck.
Thank you all.
And thank you a lot.
Good luck, and we'll keep in touch through Build Up.